Welcome to another episode of Maker Manager Money, a podcast to inspire entrepreneurs to become entrepreneurs. Today's guest is Spencer Howard. Spencer is a credit card loyalty program and travel rewards expert and the founder of Straight to the Points, STTP. He's passionate about helping people, especially business owners, demystify credit card points so they can experience the luxury of traveling in business or first class without breaking the bank. Spencer started Straight to the Points in 2017 to share his passion for travel and deal hunting. His award alert newsletters curate the best deals on premium cabin flights, taking the guesswork out of using points and miles. He also provides personalized consulting to help people optimize their points strategies. Spencer's background is unique. Before diving into the world of travel rewards, he worked in politics. He later transitioned to travel writing, contributing to major outlets like The Points Guy. This blend of experience gives him a unique perspective in the world of travel and points. Spencer believes that everyone deserves to fly business class at least once, and he's here to show us how to make that dream a reality. Welcome to the show, Spencer.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Kyle.
Were there any signs that you would be an entrepreneur when you were younger?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I played baseball until I was in college, so I was kind of just focused on doing that. It was probably after I stopped playing baseball and got involved in political campaigns that was my most entrepreneurial. Started a political action committee, ran campaign offices. Each campaign is kind of like its own startup. So yeah, that's I think that was probably the start. I just didn't realize it would go where it has.
You got a degree in political science from Notre Dame and started working in politics for the first 6 years of your career. How did the political science degree, going to college, and starting your career in politics prepare you to be an entrepreneur?
Loosely. For me, I started as a freelance writer getting away from politics. And I think the poli-sci background actually really helped for that because I was so used to just researching a ton and then trying to distill it down into an understandable format. That really helped with the writing, and it's still kind of the base of what I do now with a newsletter. So that definitely helped. I think also the political side of things, where it's just you're always like starting something new. I think I had 10 jobs in like 5 years or something. And if you looked at like a normal kind of corporate trajectory, people would be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you always leaving? But, campaigns end, you go do something else, you go back on a campaign, you repeat, and you just kind of keep doing the same cycle over and over again. So I was just used to that kind of startup mentality, I like to think.
And so would you say that in politics, you're always trying to sell something too?
In a sense, I mean, I did. So we called it field or voter outreach. So I was on the ground. It's not the kind of like, I think people think of fancy fundraisers or working with the media. And I was like, nope, I was like door to door talking to people. And then as I progressed, running offices, training people how to go door to door and talk to people or talk on the phone, whatever. So it's much more of a kind of ground game kind of thing.
And so do you consider yourself an extrovert, or was that something you overcame as an introvert?
Yeah, I say I'm a shy extrovert. I don't like bothering people, but I do enjoy talking to people. So there's like a mental shift I have to make, or I did have to make when I was on campaigns, because you just talk to tons of people every day.
Right, right. And I think all that writing you did in political science, and then you went from politics to becoming a travel writer. What inspired you to go into travel and to become a writer?
Yeah, I guess the initial part was I worked at a political job at the US Travel Association, and it's kind of independent, but it was probably the first political job I had that said you should take your time off, take your vacation days, your PTO, go see things. And that was my first time doing that. And so I just threw myself into research because that's what I'm good at and tried to figure out the best ways to go different places on cheap fare deals, and stumbled into an article on how to that mentioned you could use points to travel, and I was like, what is this? I don't care about credit cards. What are these points that you get with credit cards? And so it's funny to think back now because it's so much of my life, but at the time I had no idea what I was getting into. But that was really kind of what set me off on this path of just trying to learn everything I could so that I could travel.
Right. And just going back to politics for just a minute, were there any famous politicians that you were able to meet while you worked in politics in DC?
I'm trying to think who I met. I mean, I've met the Clintons and the Obamas and But that was just, you're just out and about doing things. I would say pre-presidency for the Obamas. That was back when he was a senator. Yeah, just, you just meet people at events. It's an interesting world. It's like its own breed of celebrity in DC. I probably couldn't tell you who. I probably wouldn't recognize like celebrities in LA, but I could recognize lots of people in DC.
I bet. And where are you from originally?
I'm from Kentucky originally. Yeah, Lexington, Kentucky.
So you grew up in Kentucky, went to high school there, and then ended up at Notre Dame, and then moved to DC?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're still near DC right now?
Yep.
So you liked it enough to stick around
Yeah.
in that area?
Yeah. It's a good area. There's people from all over the country. It's fun that way.
When and how did you decide to become a founder and entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I freelanced for, I guess, 5, 6 years, somewhere in there. Yeah, I think it was about 5 years. And then, but it was in the middle of that where I started my newsletter just as a hobby. There was actually, I didn't have any intention of making money off of it. It was just something I enjoyed doing. And I did that for 2.5 years, I think. And it was kind of towards the end of that 2.5 years where I was like, maybe I could actually make this my day job. Yeah, and it was kind of a leap of faith at the end when you finally decide to do it, because there's no real safety net there. But yeah, it was after 2.5 years. I thought, I have a big enough audience. I've talked to enough of them. I feel like they like what I'm doing and want me to do more of it, and will be willing to support that effort. So that was when I really decided to go for it.
Okay. And did you already have paid subscribers or no at that
No,
time?
it was just a free newsletter. Yeah, it was just a free newsletter. And I just had lots of conversations, honestly, with different readers, and just wanted to get a sense from them before I did kind of take that leap. Would you like to see more of this? And would you be interested in paying? I think I gave like 3 different price points. I was just trying to get a sense of where they were. Yeah. And then one day just told the world I was doing it and spun it up in 2 weeks.
So you were doing market research with your subscribers, and did you send out an email and say fill out a form, or
Nope.
were you just one by one just talking to a few of them?
Yeah, I mean, probably 20, 30. I've always been really engaged with my audience, both on Instagram and via email. So for a long time, I could tell you, like, of the, when I, of the people who'd signed up for the paid version, I knew most of them. Like, and I could, or if I didn't know them, I recognized their names because we'd emailed or I'd seen them. Something like, I was just deep, deep into my audience. And I like it that way. I like kind of knowing who I'm working with. So,
Yeah. And so how many subscribers did you have at the time when you decided to take the jump?
I think it was about 10,000, I think. Yeah, something in that ballpark. Yeah, and that was just, or it's all been organic growth, honestly. Maybe one day I'll run some ads, but it was just word of mouth and other sites liking what I was doing and sharing it. So I'm very fortunate for that.
That's really cool. So 10,000 subscribers, and then this newsletter was the foundation for what Straight to the Points became?
Yeah, it's straight to the point really is the newsletter. My website is mostly there just to help you understand what the newsletter is and then have you sign up for the newsletter. It's not the normal path in the points world where it's mostly content and affiliate links, but it's a way for me to kind of go more in depth with my audience than I would have to do if I wanted to reach tons of people to kind of maximize affiliate stuff.
Okay. And how often are you sending things out each week?
It's 3 to 5 times usually. Yeah, I always tell people I'm not going to send you something just so that I can say that I sent you something. I like it to be more substance than style.
Yeah. The value. You want to send something valuable. So
Yeah.
tell me about the name Straight to the Points. How did you come up with it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I started with the idea that I think there's just a lot of noise on the internet, and so my initial thought was no BS, just points, but I didn't think you could use that professionally. So, but the
I
idea
like
was
it.
just, yeah, I was just like, I just want to get people to the information they need to book the flights they want, to take the trips they want, and just like get them there as fast as possible. I'm not trying like. I know when you're writing online, like with SEO, you're trying to maximize time on page and all. I'm like, I don't care about that. I would like you to get through my newsletter in 15 seconds and be booked and ready to go. Like that's kind of my mentality. So yeah, that's where the name comes from.
And then you shortened it to STTP.
Yeah, it's just easier for me to say in a
Yeah.
lot of cases. So
I like acronyms. For some reason, it reminded me of STP, Stone Temple Pilots. I don't know
yeah,
if you're a fan.
hey, I love that. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
awesome. Walk me through the process of subscribing.
So if you land on straight-to-the-points.co, it's mostly just about getting you to sign up. I'll tell you about the newsletter, which for those who are not familiar with award travel and haven't used airline miles or credit card points to book flights, booking award tickets, especially in business and first class, is pretty tough if you're trying to find multiple seats. I am just laying out all the dates that you can book. That's that at its simplest. And then the second piece to that is I explain how you use those points. There are tons of different ways to book each individual alert. It's just a matter of playing the arbitrage game and understanding why to use one program versus the other. And these days, with so many banks offering transferable points that transfer to different airlines, this is where I think people start to, I don't know, they fall asleep or their heads explode, one of the two. But my goal is to make that process easy. So I lay out all the specifics so that you can just see what it is, and then I explain like why you would do one thing versus another based on your situation. So if I have like Chase points or Amex points, like it might change which program you want to or airline program you want to book with. So yeah, there's an explainer on the website, but that's kind of the gist of what you get in the email, and it's just kind of my older brother calls it idiot proofing the process. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
little aggressive, but I kind of sent a precursor of the newsletter to him when we were booking a family trip to Japan, and so I sent him all the steps, and he told me that I idiot proofed the process, so he did it really easily, and that was kind of the start of it. But and honestly, I've since had other readers tell me the exact same thing. So it's just kind of removing the guesswork and the confusion. Airlines don't make these programs easy to understand intentionally. So I'm here to make that easy.
Yeah, they don't want you to take advantage of them. And there's so much fine print and it's just hard
Yeah.
to wade through it. I mean, I got to the point because I've got 3 or 4 different cards and I'm like, maybe I'll just use the Apple one because I get 3% back off of everything. And that just seems very strict, very clear to me. But I do like the idea. I love to travel and I like the idea of luxury travel. So I want to figure this out. And I think straight to the points.co is the perfect place to help someone figure that out. So you have kind of a starter, you can log in and kind of just get start getting free
Yeah.
notifications. And then you have a premium subscription. Are there different levels of premium or?
It's the same thing, but you can choose to go monthly. Monthly's $14.99 a month, and then there's annual at $99 per year. Much better deal for those of us who like a good deal. Yeah, my goal has been to make it an affordable option. I'm trying to make sure that I can make a living, but also make it accessible. And that's to me has been like a nice happy balance right there. But yeah, I'm trying to make it something that people don't have to think too much about.
Yeah, I love it. That price point is perfect, $99 a year. And then are you able to, if you have a premium subscription, are you able to say, I don't really want to travel to, I don't know, Japan. I'm more interested in Europe, so that you're not getting alerts for something that maybe you're
Yeah.
not interested in.
So at this time, I send everything to everybody,
Okay.
and most of the reason for that is that I think people want to go lots of places, and it's
Yeah.
not like I want to go to France today. I'm not going to go anywhere else. It's kind of like, well, I also want to go to Japan, so
Yeah.
I'll go there this time, and then the next time when something for France comes up, I'll go there. And then in other cases where, say, you want to go to Italy, but something for France shows up, it's really easy to get from France to Italy. So even if I'm not sending you something directly to Italy, once you're there are lots of cheap airlines. You can just get a quick flight over. You can take a train. Hell, you could do like 2 stops. You could stay in Paris for a little bit and then move on to Rome or something. So I try not to restrict people too much. Similar on their departure airport. I live in DC, but New York has a lot more flights. And so I often get my own ticket up to New York so that I can get my, ticket to the Middle East or Asia or Europe or wherever. So I try to explain that in the newsletter too for people who are not quite used to what we call positioning flights. But yeah, I think that it helps people kind of see what's going on versus just kind of, oh, I only want this. I think sometimes the context helps.
Yeah, no, I love that explanation, and it totally makes sense. It was probably a bad question on my part because,
No, it's a
I
great
mean,
question.
if you get a deal and you think, oh, I don't want to go to Japan, and then there's a deal, and you're like, I want to go to Japan now.
Yeah.
If it looks like it's very affordable and I have enough points or whatever saved up. So my understanding from visiting website and kind of clicking around and just being a freemium member, my understanding is there's some way for you to, I don't know, maybe when you become a premium member, fill out a bunch of information and it will kind of tell you who you are as far as travel. And then you can pick kind of between three different credit card strategies. Do you want to talk about that process and the three credit card strategies?
Yeah, so those are two things. The onboarding form is a way for me to get to know everybody. I want to know where people are kind of dying to go. Japan, if you're curious, is always the most popular, and it has been since
Really?
the day I first surveyed people, like 5 years ago. It's always the top three. So
What are the other two in the top three?
it's usually Italy, France, the UK are in the top. Like, so I have, yeah, you can pick three different ones, and in each section as your top one, like your top priority or second or third, you see the same five like places. Australia slips in there, but yeah, it's really interesting to kind of see how, while lots of things change, some things do not. And the interest in travel, there's certain hotspots, which is great. But yeah, so the card strategy thing I think is really important. That kind of goes back, it's just like getting back to basics. If you want to use points to travel, you have to earn the points. And most people are not frequent travelers, like they're not on the road as a consultant. And that doesn't really matter anymore. Credit cards are kind of the game. That's where you can earn most points. Even consultants earn a lot of their points with credit cards. And so figuring out where to start, I think, is important. And so I tell people there's kind of three main approaches to kind of keep it simple. You get 1 to 3 cards. They've got good bonus categories based on where you spend money. And then you just never think about it again. I know a lot of business owners who spend tons of money on their cards just to run the business. That's a great strategy. You don't have to think about it, but you're still earning a lot of points. The middle ground, I call it, it's kind of like a hub and supplement. You kind of build a hub, maybe 4 or 5 cards. Again, focusing on the bonus categories, maybe you look to some specific benefits from them, and then you just supplement with a new sign up bonus from a new card every so often. You'll never earn points faster than when you're getting a new card sign up bonus. That's just, that's a numbers game. And then finally, there's the maximalist approach for people who want to go deep down the rabbit hole and get every sign up bonus possible. And friends of mine that do this are just kind of like they hit a sign up bonus from a new card, they get a new card, and they just repeat. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure game. You just have to decide where you want to play, and you can set up a strategy from there.
And which of these three types are you? I'm assuming you're maximalist.
I was when I first started, yeah.
Okay.
I got really into it. But in some ways that helped me learn everything I needed to know to help others. Now I would say I'm more in the like middle category. Yeah. It's a little easier to manage, and I'm busier these days. So.
Yeah. So, and it seemed like there's advantages for business owners. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, one, I think there's just more spend. If you have to spend
Mhm.
to run a business, I'm not saying you should, I never want anyone to spend more than they have to. I'm not saying you should just be spending money. But if you're spending the money anyway, I would like you to get the most out of it. And so with business credit cards, there's often different bonus categories that maybe the personal credit cards don't have. So, like the Chase Inc. Business Preferred card has 3x on digital or like social media ads. So if you're running ads, you can be earning 3x instead of 1x or 2x. Like, why not? And I think there's different cards like that. The Amex Business Gold also has several bonus categories that earn 4x. And so it's just an easy opportunity to earn a lot more points without changing what you're doing.
I see. And then, so these alerts that you send out aren't just about deals for travel, but they're also about deals with credit cards.
Generally try to avoid kind of swarming people with more credit card info. There's so
Mhm.
much of that that's published online right now. I answer questions. I do kind of one-on-one consulting sessions, and I'll flag if there's something particularly important. I try to kind of ease up on it, though. That's probably the biggest kind of marketing side of the points and miles world, where people are always kind of inundated with credit cards. So I try to have a lighter touch on that.
Okay. That makes sense. So, if I'm a new entrepreneur or business owner, can you tell me what the 2 to 3 credit cards you recommend a small business owner get? I know you mentioned the Chase.
Yeah, the Inc. business. Yeah, the Inc. business preferred. There's three different Inc. cards. So the Inc. business preferred earns 3x on travel, on digital ads, your like phone bill or internet, stuff like that. I think that's a really good one. For most business owners, you're just going to hit those bonus categories. I think the Amex Business Gold is another one where you can earn 4x again on digital ads, but also gas and going out to restaurants, and they have some select ones for like software from certain companies and things like that. But it's, again, it's just like matching up whatever your spend is. So I always tell people it's not, what is the best card. It's kind of like what's the best card in your situation for what you're going for at this time, and that can change. Cards I use now that I didn't used to use, they shift, and that's just, it's just travel patterns too. It's, don't pay for a credit card unless you're getting the value out of it. And so, yeah, kind of be thoughtful about it.
And is there a site that would tell you kind of these comparisons and kind of the fine print of where you're going to get maximum points or?
Sure. So I have a best cards page on my website with short reviews. You're getting a sense here, straight to the points kind of idea. Like I
Mhm.
want very quick kind of reviews and rundowns on the benefits. So I have those on my site, and I update them every time there's a change in an offer. Generally, the bonus categories don't change. It's just the sign up bonus that's going to change. So that's a quick way just to kind of get a glance at like what are your benefits, what are your bonus categories, what the annual fee is, stuff like that.
Okay. That's very, very helpful. First of all, I want to talk about the way you spend your time, your workday. How do you spend the majority of your workday?
That's a great question. A lot of emails, responding to readers, but that's the fun part. It's, yeah, a lot of it's research, figuring out what we've sent recently that we should send, so that we can kind of mix it up. Some regions are tougher than others, so sometimes you're spending a lot of time just looking for an opportunity to send an alert for Asia right now. Has been, broadly speaking, like Southeast Asia has been really tough for a while. So there are days where you just kind of search, and nothing really shows up. And that's just how it goes. But yeah, it's a lot of coordinating. A friend of mine helps me with that research now. And so we work together trying to figure out what we should be tackling that day. When I'm in full swing with Instagram content, I do that. I've taken a little break. I have a 1-year-old right now, so I've tried to make a little more time for family life. But
Is this your
um,
first child as well?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Congratulations. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then I also have an agency side of my business where I do hotel bookings, cruises, luxury trains, stuff like that. So any kind of requests I'm getting for that stuff fits into the day as well. And then occasionally somebody reaches out and wants, a quote for an article. So I was working on that right before we jumped on today.
Yeah, it looks like you've been featured in Forbes and other magazines. What are some of the other magazines and news
Yeah.
channels that you've been on?
Yeah, I think, trying to think, CNBC, Bloomberg at one point, Travel and Leisure. Yeah, it's been kind of interesting over the years to just pop up in places. Even funnier when you just get referenced and you don't know it's coming. So,
And is it because people are subscribers and then they say, "Oh, let's just reach out to Spencer"?
yeah, I think part of that. And then I also, when I was freelancing, I wrote for, I would guess, the largest point sites in the world. The US has the largest point sites, and I wrote for the largest ones in the US, so I assume. Yeah, just kind of, it got my name out there for sure. That definitely helped.
Yeah, I know that I don't know if you know who Bob Lefsetz is, but he has a newsletter, and he's in the music industry, and he has some very interesting people subscribe to his newsletter, famous people. And do you find that too? Do you find even famous, or maybe you find people that are actually could afford luxury travel, but they're still playing the game?
I don't know about famous. Definitely people who can afford luxury travel. I think it's kind of a misunderstood aspect. To earn the points and to get the credit cards to earn the points, you have to have the spend, and you also have to have, excuse me, you have to have the credit score and the income to get the credit cards in the first place. It doesn't mean that you can't play it with a kind of lower income, but it's a lot easier when you're making more money. So I have a lot of readers who are also my clients on the luxury travel agency side of things. They book their business or first class flights with the points, and they take their family to Europe. And then when they get there, they book whatever hotel they want with cash. And they want to, I mean, there's just more options when you're not using points for hotels. So they kind of get the experience they want, and I help them do that on the other side. So it's a fun combo. I actually really like seeing that kind of come together.
That's really cool. And so, can you access the agency side of your business from straight to the points.co?
Yeah, there's a hotel booking tab in the menu at the top of the page. And then so there's a self booking portal where you can kind of check out what's available with extra like VIP perks. And then there's an option just to send me a note through the form there and just let me know what you're looking to do. So yeah, it's fun.
Okay. And what are some of your favorite tools to use as a business owner?
Well, I have to say MailChimp because I've been using MailChimp for so
Mm.
long. I feel
Shout
like
out to MailChimp.
I just kind of understand how to exist within that platform now. Sometimes friends are like, "Oh, have you ever thought about switching?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Are you kidding me?" Like we have kind of it's like a professional marriage at this point. I know the ins and outs and I don't want to have to mess with that. That's the biggest one. I also use a tool called Simple Texting. So when premium members get an alert, I also send them a text just because I know a lot of people turn off notifications for their emails because they're sick of seeing work emails pop up. So my way of kind of breaking through that noise was to say, hey, if you want, it's optional. But if you enter your cell phone number, I will text you when it's ready. So
When a new alert is out.
yeah. So like today I sent it's like JetBlue award space to Europe. And so as soon as I send out the email, I go over and send out a text as well. So that just like lets people know, hey, check your email. Yeah, that's another big one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really stands out. My good friend Tim built the membership portal for our website. So it's in-house, but he gets all the credit for building that. Yeah, so those are the three. That's like the three. That's where my life is, I guess you could say. I spend my time in those three spaces.
And then an email, I guess.
And then the email, yeah, from
Yeah.
going from MailChimp, yeah. But
Yeah. It's funny because one day, is it your son or your daughter?
that's my daughter. Yeah.
Your daughter will ask you what you do for work, and you'll say, I send emails.
Yeah.
And she'll think, well, I could do that.
Yeah. Yep.
It sounds like an
It's
easy job, sending and receiving and reading emails. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. And I guess you could say the other tools I use are like my phone because when I most people show up at the airport and they just like try to get checked in, get ready for the flight, and they get on the flight and they don't think. And I get to the airport and it's like, all right, now I need to document everything I do with photos and video. And I
Mm.
get on the plane and I frantically try to get photos and video before other people get into the cabin so that they don't so that I can keep them out of the phone. So it's yeah, it's like I don't really take vacation, I just travel. It's a little bit different for me, but I love every second of it.
And do you just post straight from your phone, or do you do any editing or anything on your computer?
Yeah, I mean, photos, I just all from my phone.
Mhm.
Videos, I've started to use CapCut.
Yeah.
I keep hearing that's been just a great tool for people, and a friend of mine flagged it, so I started trying that with videos. I'm not a very good video maker at this point, but I'm trying. It's the mode of consumption that people want these days, so I'm learning.
Have you tried CapCut on your phone?
That's where I use it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
only done
Yeah,
short
it's
form
awesome.
video, and I just keep it on my phone. I don't have like the paid version of it at this point, but I'm
Yeah.
not trying to do anything particularly fancy with it. Yeah, I mostly am just trying to like show the flight and show what it's about and show a hotel
Mhm.
and what it's about. Yeah, so far keeping it simple. Maybe one day I'll graduate to do more interesting things.
Yeah, I just think CapCut's fantastic, and it's amazing that you can make a video on your phone while
Yeah,
you're traveling, while you're on the go. I mean, I'll go
yeah,
on a walk and I'll make a video just on my phone while I'm walking.
yeah,
CapCut is fantastic. It's really
yeah.
cool. So, what book, movie, or TV character is most like you?
Oh God, I actually have no idea. I'm gonna have to sit here with like dead space for about 3 minutes to figure this out. Who is like me? I once got called Sheldon with social skills from Big Bang Theory, and I don't really know what that means, but no,
I
it's
don't know
just,
Big Bang Theory, so I don't know if that's a compliment or
he's
what
just
it.
like super nerdy and he
Okay,
like knows a lot of stuff, but he's not always the most socially aware.
I see.
But I, my friends tell me I just know a lot of like stuff that no one should ever know. And so, and it just kind of stays in my head. So I think that may be why. But yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I like it. Probably all the research you do and all the data you've been looking at and things like that. You'll probably geek out on all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I really do. Anything and everything travel.
Yeah. What's one thing you'd like to change about yourself, Spencer?
I'll be more patient. I'm kind of always in a rush. And I think that stems from working in the political world where everything is 24/7 and a million miles an hour and it needs to be done yesterday, even if it doesn't really. So I'm still trying to learn that for myself now that I kind of decide when things happen in the business.
Hmm. So just pulling back, maybe not being in such a rush, or
Yeah, yeah. I think I have a tendency to feel like everything needs to be done now, and so I'm just always pushing. But also, when you're trying to grow a business, you have to be really patient, and I'm not. So there's, I'm like, oh, we could do this better. We need to do this better. We need to do this better. I'd like to also do this, and it's, there's that. I'm not really good at acknowledging like, hey, we did this really well. I'm as soon as that happens, I'm like, great, next. So.
that makes sense. And it seems like a lot of entrepreneurs that I've interviewed are like that because it's so there's such an urgency to it, right? If there's
Yeah.
5 things broken on your website, you want them fixed today, right? There's updates to be made, you want them done today, and so you're
Yeah.
constantly running through this to-do list, probably in your mind, and I can
Yep.
understand why.
Yep. Or it's written down next to me and I'm staring at it. But it's one of those things where I feel like if you like heard the internal monologue, you'd be like, man, is this business going okay? And I'm like, it is actually. It's just that I just immediately dismiss everything that's going well and don't think about it. And I should probably like take a beat and like, celebrate some smaller wins. And um, yeah, it's my wife and I now at the end of the day, we try to share like our small win of the day to like
Awesome.
help me. It's been helpful for me to like realize that good things are happening too.
Yeah, that sounds like a good gratitude practice. So, what's the book that you recommend the most to people?
I don't. I'll be honest. I haven't read a lot
Okay.
lately. I mean, if I want to be completely honest.
Any podcasts or other kinds of?
And so, what's funny is I've been asked about podcasts before, and like I still listen to political podcasts. Like even though I've moved out of it, I listen to political podcast. I guess there's a Premier League if anybody watches English football
Okay.
called Men in Blazers, and then the P1 podcast, which is a Formula One podcast. And yeah, otherwise it's trying to think what's the other. The Rest is Politics. That's another. It's like a political show. I know. I wish I had some like insightful like business stuff, but I think when I listen to podcasts, I'm just trying to like step away and apparently I step away to politics.
Politics and sports, just for entertainment, I guess.
No, well, we used to call politics sports for adults, so it's
I like that. I like that a lot. And did you play soccer growing up then?
only until high school. Just really enjoy it. I still watch baseball too, but that's I haven't really listened to baseball podcasts. I don't know why. But yeah, it's that's how I relax, I guess. Formula One races that when they're in Europe are at like 7 a.m. in the US. And so I've been doing that since, I don't know, I've been watching F1 since I was, I guess, in 1992 or 1993. It's now really big. Everybody knows the Netflix show Drive to Survive, which is fun for me because for years people didn't know what I was talking about, and now they do. So,
Now they can have conversations with you
yeah,
about it.
exactly.
Yeah. So, who is your Premier League team?
Well, they're not in the Premier League at the moment. It's Leeds
Oh,
United. They're in the championship. We're currently second, so hopefully getting promoted. Got a long way to go, but hopefully we'll
yeah.
get promoted.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Do you follow?
I follow soccer in a general sense. I played till I was 40 years old, but yeah, it's more of a general thing, and I really get into it when the World Cup comes around every 4 years.
The World Cup is a fascinating. I just think the energy around it is amazing.
It's just amazing that there's an event that the whole world tunes into.
Yeah.
I think that's exciting, and exciting for different countries, and hasn't been so exciting for the United States,
No.
but hopefully someday. Hopefully
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah. For sure.
What are you passionate about, and what brings you joy?
I mean, at this point, travel, which is both kind of, it's like a double-edged sword. Like I'm obsessed with travel. It is absolutely my hobby and passion, but now I work in it. And so it's like, where does one end and the other begin? Like I was saying, I haven't, since I started writing about points and miles and travel in 2016, I haven't just taken a vacation. Every single trip has involved work. And I've traveled so much more than anyone has a reasonable expectation to do. I think it's 3 months of the year for the last 7 years, like each year. I mean, like that's insane, but it's been a lot of work. So that's my passion these days. And I don't know, at some point my daughter will have passions and I'm sure those will become mine too. So
Well, I love it that your passion is also your job.
I love it. It's honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay. So, where is the most amazing place you've ever traveled to?
Hmm. I mean, there's a lot. I always tell people Taiwan because I don't think it's thought of as much. I think, and in fact, a lot of times when I tell people I love Taiwan, people will say, I love Thailand. And I'm like, also a great place, but a different place. So I've been trying to like spotlight Taiwan as much as I can. I've been several times to Taipei and even like down to the southern tip. There's a city called Kaohsiung. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I've done like a train trip through the entire country, and yeah, it's a beautiful place. Amazing food. People are friendly. Yeah, totally worth the trip if you decide to go to Asia.
And where is a place that you definitely, absolutely have to go to before you die that you've never been to?
Monaco for the Formula One race, just because it's just a spectacle. Like, I'm probably not going to be one of the yacht owners, but I think it will be fun to just like see all the yachts and people doing whatever it is they do there. I think it's just a fascinating event.
That sounds amazing. Are you working on anything specifically exciting right now related to the business or in your personal life?
Yeah, in the business where I'm trying to grow the agency side of things, I didn't really talk about it for years. It was just kind of an add-on for any of my newsletter readers if they wanted some, extra perks while they're traveling. They wanted to get a nicer hotel experience, and I've just in the last year kind of started to kind of promote that. I guess like people didn't even know I did it who'd been in my audience for years. So now that they do know, it's fun to kind of yeah, it's fun. Honestly, it's a way to make hotel stays special. It doesn't have to just be a place where you put your head down at night. So I love hearing from my clients who are also generally my subscribers, and how much fun they've had at a hotel because we've been able to personalize something, whether it's a birthday cake or the welcome amenity being exactly the kind of thing they would like because I've asked them about it. So it's fun. Yeah, I'm loving seeing that grow.
Sounds really exciting. So, what's your biggest goal right now?
Just help more people get on planes and travel in business class and then go have cool hotel experiences. I mean, that's been my goal from day one is just like get people on the plane in a comfortable seat, let people kind of enjoy the journey instead of just the destination. And yeah, that's just want to keep doing more and more of that.
And is there a total subscriber count that would make you feel better than you feel now, or are you
Yeah.
just happy with the organic growth as it's come
I like
through?
the organic growth. I think I would like to be able to help more people do it, but also just there's always tweaks you want to make, and sometimes you need to hire somebody to help you make the tweaks. And so, growth is a way to be able to afford that since I'm not like a venture backed startup. So yeah, as I grow, I'm able to kind of invest more into the business and improve it, and yeah, then there's probably things I haven't even thought of. So I'm sure there's lots of things I'll tweak as I go.
And are you eventually interested in selling it to someone? I'm sure maybe people have offered you.
No one's ever offered to buy
Okay.
it. But I mean, it does happen in this space sometimes. I haven't heard of one recently, but it's not really, it's never been on my mind. It's all just, I'm very like customer focused, I guess you could say. It's just like I'm trying to find the best way to deliver something to people. And like the tweaks you see from me now are generally where I'm like, will this make it more easily understood? Like that, those are the only things that I've really thought about. I feel like it's just like, how can I keep helping more people with this?
Okay. Now, turning to some more personal questions. When did you cry the hardest?
It's a great question. I mean, if we want to be really personal, probably like high school when I like suffered from like severe depression. And that lasted for a long time, but that was probably the hardest. Yeah. when I was like figuring out what was going on and the fact that I was dealing with it. It was also in like the early 2000s in a world in which mental health was kind of like, what's that? Especially for like people who play baseball, like where you're supposed to just be tough and like show no emotion ever. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That was probably the hardest.
Yeah. And what did you do to overcome that? Or what are you doing now to take care of your mental health?
I like to go to the gym. I like to lift. I also went to a lot of therapy. But yeah, and I mean, it's interesting now thinking back. Like, I started a mental health advocacy group in college because I didn't think we were doing a good job at the school of helping people. But it was also just kind of like nobody wanted to talk about it. I used to have people like, I had guys like pull me into their dorm room to like ask me about things because it was like they had to close the door. You couldn't like just ask somebody in the open. So it was I think I was asked by our student newspaper or magazine once, like, why am I like talking about going through this stuff? And I was just like, well, somebody has to. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with me. It's really awesome that you were someone that people could talk to about it
Yeah.
and that you were open about
Yeah.
it and just, vulnerable about it. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that. Who had the most significant impact on your life?
I mean, probably my parents. I mean, if we're honest, like, I mean, along the same lines, my parents were very supportive, even if they didn't really know what to do. And that's not an easy thing to watch your child suffering. So there are a lot of parents who probably would not have handled that very well. So gotta give them credit for that. And that's the kind of support you need to figure it all out and progress and, keep going with life.
Yeah, thankful for good parents. That's
Yeah.
really cool. What's something that most people don't know about you?
Well, that, but
Okay.
um, yeah, I was like, I don't know. I don't talk. I think friends from back in high school knew, but that's about it. What do people not know about me? I don't know. I'm pretty open with people, honestly. Like, I don't know. My musical taste is kind of odd, I guess, to some people. They don't expect it.
Give me the deets.
Yeah, they just don't expect me to listen to like metal, I don't think. It's like I just look kind of plain, no tattoos. My friends who listen to metal all have tattoos, and then I'm just over here just like very plain. So, yeah, it's not what people think all the time, but
Name some bands.
that's a great question. I'm trying to think of who I've been listening to lately. Five Finger Death Punch was one I've listened to recently, an old album I was listening to. It's just like, it's great for lifting. If you want to go lift heavy weight, it's just really good energy. Now, on the flip side, and it makes no sense, I also kind of like the indie singer songwriter things. And so, like one of my friends, I don't know if he's on sabbatical, we'll call it. He's a musician. And so I like listening to his stuff. But it makes no sense, and people are always confused whenever I end up talking about music, I guess.
That's awesome. So I have a band I discovered just yesterday. Actually, they're called Wisp.
Okay.
WISP. They're a female. I think it's a female, at least a lead female singer. Kind of metal band. They're
Yeah.
heavy. I would say
Yeah.
hard rock, but check them out when you
Yeah.
get a chance. Are you a musician yourself?
No, I've never. there's, I'm good at some things, and that wasn't it. Yeah, I also never really had the interest to play music. I think I found music later than some people. I also really, I've kind of love grunge rock and stuff like that, and I always said I like lyrics that have meaning. You can get a sense of when I started to like listen to music in high school, but I thought music was like a great way to express what you're dealing with when you don't have the words to do so. So that was kind of how I got into music.
So listening, but not actually playing musical instruments.
Yeah, I'm an appreciator. I'm an appreciator of music.
So just to end here, Spencer, I've just got a lightning round of questions and a couple ending questions, but let's go for this lightning round. Your favorite candy bar?
Ooh, 100 grand.
Favorite musical artist?
Pearl Jam.
Favorite cereal?
trying to think. I haven't had cereal in ages. Probably peanut butter crunch back when I was a kid.
Mac or PC?
Mac for years before it was something that people actually used. It used to get made fun of. It was
Google or Microsoft?
Google.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Phantom or Les Mis?
That's a great question. But honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea. I've never really, I feel like I saw the movies years ago. Let's just go with Phantom because I don't know.
Okay. It makes sense. You could say neither if you wanted to.
Well, I feel like you got to choose a side. This is like pick a side. Let's go.
No one in my family is into musicals except me. So, last two questions for you, Spencer. What's the worst thing about being an entrepreneur? And then what's the best thing?
I'll lead with the best. I like to be positive, but you get to do what you care about. At least that's the kind of entrepreneur I am. I wanted to do something I really was interested in. The worst part, I think it's also the best part, is like, it's up to you. It's like, there's no one else to make the decision. You get to make the decision. If it goes right, great. If it doesn't, it's on you. So I know not everybody loves that, but I think on the whole, it's a positive, but I understand that there's a lot of pressure. It's just up to you to do it.
I love that answer. I think that's a really cool answer. And it is, there's no one to blame except the person who started the business, right? And you don't have a budget, you don't have a title, you don't have all these other trappings that people that work in corporate have. And you have to make it happen if it's going to happen. So I love the answer. Well, Spencer, it's been such a joy talking to you. Thanks for being vulnerable. And thank you for giving such insight into loyalty travel and credit cards. And I'm your next subscriber, so I'll be subscribing this weekend. And I look forward to going on this journey with you. And hopefully I'll be doing some luxury travel in the next year or two.
Love it. Thanks so much for having me, Kyle. It's been great. Oh yeah, a friend of mine, when I first launched this, I think she made like a TikTok video in support of me, but do you remember there was a commercial, like an ad campaign to like get people to donate to a cause, but it was like Sarah McLachlan's, like the background music in the arms of an angel. So she did that and she was like, for only 27 cents a day. It was so funny. I need to go find that video. Like, we've been good friends. She's like, I don't have a following. This is just for like our group of friends who like are in this world, and they were all going to join because they've been on my newsletter for ages. Like, truly, I make friends with my readers. Like, I've been friends with these people for ages. But yeah, it was just so funny. For only 27 cents a day, you can help feed Spencer. Like, it was